Hi, I'm Devin Beek from Janus Motorcycles, and first off, I want to congratulate you on owning a Janus motorcycle. I want to take a few minutes and give you a full walk-around tour of your bike and some do's and don'ts of owning a Janus motorcycle. We call this the first startup guide to owning a bike. Here's your ignition switch. There's 4 positions to it. You have off, on, there's a steering column lock position and a parking light position. Insert your key, turning it clockwise to the right, you will be in the on position. This is when your bike is ready to run. As long as you are in neutral, you can start the bike. The other option is steering column lock. To do that, you must turn your handlebars all the way to the left until they stop. You push down on the key and you turn it until it clicks once. At this point, you can remove the key and your steering column is locked into place. If you put the key back in and you go 1 click counterclockwise to the P position, you can take your key out and your taillight will be on. Make sure that if you want to put it in the lock position and take your key out, that it is only in the lock position, not in the P position. If you want it in the P position, make sure that's intentional and be aware that your taillight will be on and it could drain your battery. Now we're going to go over your dash lights or the light indicators on your speedometer. Turn your key on, you'll see you have the blue light, that is your high beam indicator. When you use your high beam switch, that will turn on. The next one is the neutral light. That will illuminate when you are in neutral. When you are out of neutral, the light will go off. The red one is for oil light. That is not an option on these bikes, so just disregard that. The next one, farthest to the right, is your turn indicator. It's a single light for both left and right turning. It just shows that an indicator is on. So whether you're using your left or right turn signal, that will illuminate. Up top, you have your trip meter. When you need to reset it, you simply spin the dial all the way back to 0. Here you have your odometer, and that reads your current miles. Here is your left handlebar switch. Up top, there is a kill switch that must be depressed to kill the motor. You will hold the switch in to kill the motor. Once the motor is completely off, then you can release the button. You have your headlight switch. The H stands for headlight, the P stands for parking, and the solid dot means that there is no headlight at all. The switch must be in the H position for the bike to run. Here you have your high beam and low beam switch. You push it in for the high beam and you push it out. You will also see that pushing it in will illuminate your high beam indicator on your left handlebar switch. You have your turn signals, left and right. This is a center push to cancel. All you do is push it straight in and it'll cancel your turn signals. Here is your horn button. Use as necessary. And here we have your clutch lever, which is attached to your clutch cable. On the right side of your handlebars, you will find this is your front brake master cylinder and your front brake lever. You also have your starter button. And here's your throttle. Now you're ready to fill up your Janus 250 for the first time. I want to go over the process to do that. Here is your gas cap. This is the newer, updated version with the coarse threads. If you are an earlier Janus owner and you have a fuel cap with the fine threads, or it's an all aluminum fuel cap, feel free to give us a call. We'll send you out a new updated cap with the Delrin plastic and fine threads. When filling up your fuel tank, it's very important that you do not overfill the tank. And I'll show you here the reason for that. We have a proprietary internal fuel ventilation system, and it goes up on the interior of your fuel tank to the ceiling of your fuel tank. And if you overfill your tank, you are submerging the breathing unit, and therefore the fuel will come out of your vent tube, and there is a tube that runs down to the ground. But to prevent any fuel from coming out of it, Make sure that you fill up your tank to the bottom of the filler neck and do not go beyond that. When you're filling up your fuel tank, make sure that you do not get any gas onto your powder coat. If you do, clean it off as soon as possible, and it may leave some discoloring, but don't worry, we have a tutorial and videos on how to remove any discoloring from your tank. The type of gasoline that you put in your bike is not critical, but we do recommend using ethanol-free gas if it is available to you. Otherwise, you can just use standard pump gas. And we suggest that because modern fuels don't have very good stabilizers in them, and just a bike sitting for 2 to 3 weeks can actually cause the fuel to go bad. So it's best to use ethanol-free fuel. If your bike is gonna sit for more than 2 weeks, we always suggest draining the float bowl on your carburetor. And in the video description, you will find a link to how to drain the float bowl of your carburetor. A couple other components that you'll find on the left-hand side of your bike is your shifter, which is located here. You have 1 down and 4 up, and neutral is in between first and second gear. You also have your choke located on your carburetor. You have 3 positions on it. Up means that it is fully choked, ready for your bike to start. Middle is your warm-up position. Down means that your choke is off and your bike is now ready to ride. Here is the side stand. Simple operation. Has 2 positions, up and down. There's no interlock on your side stand, so make sure visually that your side stand is up before you get ready to take off. Now we're on the right side of your bike. We're gonna go over some of the components. You have your kickstart lever. You have your rear foot brake lever. Here you have what we call the petcock or the fuel valve. There's 3 positions on this. You have an off position, which is the lever facing forward. You have an on position, which is down. And when you run out of fuel in your on position, you have what we call reserve. And they're indicated as off, on, and there's an R standing for reserve. The reserve, when you flip to reserve, you have approximately 10 to 15 miles before you're completely out of gas. There are 2 fuel filters located on your bike. One is attached to the petcock, and that goes inside your tank. And the second one is here, and it's visible. This is outside, or it's visible here, and this is called an inline fuel filter. Located on the right side of your motor, you have a sight window or a viewing window for your oil in your motor. To check your oil level, set your bike up vertical. Give it a few minutes for the oil to fill in. You have an L and an H. L means low, the H means high. If your oil is anywhere in between that, you are fine. Behind your kickstart lever, you will find your oil dipstick. You read it just like an automotive dipstick. Has hash marks at the bottom. You should be able to see your oil level when the bike is vertical. See your oil level on the hash marks here. You should be anywhere from the middle to the top. This is also where you will add more oil to your motor. To access your battery, simply unsnap your leather cover, and the full leather cover can be removed by just pulling it back. Now that you have access to your battery, you can hook up a battery tender or a battery charger if needed. If you do leave your bike sitting for an extended period of time, we do recommend hooking up a battery tender to ensure that you have healthy battery life. On the right side of your carburetor, in this little pocket here, there is a flathead screw. That is your idle screw. Down in the description of this video, there'll be a link to a full video describing how to adjust the engine idle speed on your Janus 250. It's important to know that there's a break-in period for your Janus 250. For the entire procedure on how to break in your motorcycle properly, please refer to your Janus owner's manual. In your owner's manual, you'll also find a detailed maintenance schedule. Failure to comply with the schedule could void your warranty. If you have leather on your Janus motorcycle, there may be times where you need to take it off. So I want to talk about pulling your leather off and also reinstalling it. All Janus saddlebags have 3 loops on it with a standard belt buckle here, and then it also has a sprung hook at the bottom. I'll show you here. This hook, this ring, will go on a small tab behind here, and you'll want to pull down and release it, making sure it has released your saddlebag. Then you will undo the 3 straps. On the right side of your motorcycle, you want to take special note that there is the taillight wiring and turn signal wiring that runs alongside the rail that your saddlebag is attached to. So when you take it off and put it back on, make sure that you are not putting the leather straps here around the wire. They go just around the metal rail. If you have a pillion seat on your Janus motorcycle, we have made it so it's easy to remove. Located in the rear of the seat, there is a wing bolt. You must remove that bolt all the way. Lift up on the back and pull out. To reinstall it, simply make sure that that plate is on that first bar up there. Place the wing bolt back through the tab and into the seat. Tighten it up firmly. Now we're ready to take off the solo seat. You want to start in a rear corner, working that leather off. And once you get one corner off, you can slide the seat over, like so, and then move the seat forward. You can see the bottom of the seat here has a front pocket, and then the corners act as a pocket to hold on to the seat pan. To reinstall the seat, you must reverse the process, making sure that you get the seat pan all the way and properly into the front leather pocket. You can take the side pocket, fold it over the side of the seat here, pull the back leather out, and this part takes a little stretching. And for that, we use a tire spoon. You can use another dull tool. We do not recommend a flathead screwdriver or anything like that. And you slowly massage that last bit over and then pull down, and you are good to go. Now we are ready for the first start of your Janus motorcycle. But before we start it up, we are going to go over a couple simple steps to ensure that your bike starts up, runs good, and is safe to operate. First thing we're going to do is make sure, once we're on the bike, that the side stand is up. We're going to check our mirrors, make sure our mirrors are in the correct position. We're going to check our headlight switch, make sure that's all the way forward, being in the H position. We're also going to make sure that our choke is in the correct position. If your engine is cold, you're going to need to put the choke all the way up. If your engine is somewhat warm, you're going to go in the middle, and if your engine has just freshly been run, you can put your choke all the way down in the run position. This one is the first start of the day, so I'm going to put it all the way up. The next thing is check your fuel. You want to make sure that your fuel is in the on position. If you are questioning the level of fuel or how much you have in your tank, you want to make sure that your petcock is in the reserve position. Now we're ready to turn the key ignition on. Make sure your bike is in neutral. That's the only place your bike will start, is in neutral position. When you go to depress your starter button here, you don't want to give your bike throttle right away. What you want to do is when the engine starts turning over, you can slowly pull your throttle back about 1/16 of a turn. Here we go, let's start it up. Now that the bike is running, you may need to nurse the throttle a little bit to keep the bike idling. I just moved the choke to the middle position. You want to avoid revving out your motor at this point. Just gently give it throttle, keep your bike at a lower RPM. Now I just put the choke all the way down in the run position. It's a warm day, so it shouldn't take long for this bike to warm up. Some warm-up times will vary depending on how cold the motor is. And once the bike holds an idle on its own, then you know the bike is fully warmed up and ready to ride. So kickstarting your Janus 250 is a fun way to start your bike. We're going to start with turning the key switch on, making sure that we have our choke in the choke position, our headlight switch is in the H position, and our fuel is on. There's a sequence to finding the right stroke of the motor to kickstart your bike. You want to find what's called the compression stroke. That's easiest found when your kickstart lever meets the most resistance. You want to make sure that you're stabilizing yourself and the bike, because it does take quite a bit of force. You can also use the kickstarter from astride the bike, like so. I hope this helps with starting your bike for the first time. If you have any problems or questions, feel free to give us a call or email at the shop.